Ahoy and welcome back, Summoners, to Week 2, Day 2. We got two series coming up with two fantastic casters. It's twos all round, Skimmy and Tally. Joining me on the desk, my name's Papa Pike. We are in for a big show tonight, lads. Are you keen for these? We got the two brothers going up against each other, Tally.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see them play. I'm honestly really excited for this series as well. I think both teams have a lot to prove, and I can't wait to watch it.
Well, we have to look at some highlights real quick. Let's just jump straight in and see what happened yesterday before we get into today's matches.
Dominus certainly want to entertain that idea, instant flush away to safety. There is the Winter's Fight. There's the arrow, but only taking out one. Hextech Ultimatum locked in place. Thomas jumps in, jumps out. Church absolutely destroys the ground in which they stand upon. He's got the Guardian Angel, so that's why he's chasing in with a reckless abandon. 1v5, waiting for the team to come on through. There is the Impale. There is the first kill. Now finally, GA is being popped. Now Chirp rocks into the fight, so it was a 4v5 before, but he just absolutely stun locks two members in place, and they just wait for cooldowns. And once they're back up, it's just another kill, another day, and another moment for Fury to defy expectations.
Go, every bot lane, with this bit.
Foreigner right now is a bit too strong, and you really want to avoid these fights.
You should be avoiding these fights. Oh, Cosmo does that damage onto Nox! He died between the Moonlight Vigil and the acquisition of true heartbreak there for the Viego. We don't talk about the second game, mate. It never happened.
Yeah. Get it up over there. I'm so glad I've got the right corner every time now. Get points. Don't forget to place those points on the team that you want. Zayed, Jimbos, or... No, I did it the wrong way that time.
You have to see if Hatsuru doesn't get the hook. He doesn't actually see the ult.
That's actually pretty old, but he holds it for the meantime, doesn't have any summoners to use. He's just taking a fair bit of damage, actually bounces back underneath the throat with a killer instinct to save! Oh, he's just out of range! He's just out of range! As Gunkrab just gets away, Shinky rocket up and saying, there's an ignite, go away. As the depth charge knocks up three members, and members look to try and put up a bit of a valiant effort to defend their base for whatever remains. Mochi jumps in, he's surrounded by four members, gets kicked apart and dies before there's any protection or peel to be found. But that means that Katsuri can jump into the backline, find two, assist with a third, make it four, and then look for the clean sweep ace.
No one is showing on the map.
He's literally just hit level 6 right now. Does he get a chance to hit that cast already? All fall down. There is the cast! There's the kill! The kill from the grave! He may just be the GOAT. He may just get the MVP here because he's sneaking so many kills. Fantastic. I can't wait for this one. I feel great.
Straight off the bat, it's my second week on the job and I've been thrown well under the bus for not knowing my angles. Can we just skip over that next time, production? That'd be great because it is... Oh, yeah, thank God.
He's done it.
I'm lucky I did it. We did it, guys. It's fine. But Skimmy and Tally, we're here for Day 2, Week 2. We've got some pretty big games coming up, but are we excited for some of these? Any favorites we're looking at? I'm thinking Bliss is going to be on the top tier for me today.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely my game of the day. Game of the week, actually, based on narratives, be it the brothers, be it everything else. Keen for that one, but it's hard to look past this first game as well, right? Grand Zero Gaming, the reigning champions up against the newcomers in Kanga with a lot of upstart rookies looking to try and showcase, hey, we are another team that should be taken into consideration. So a bit of a blockbuster schedule here at Pike.
There's a big one, Tally, I think we're looking at the grand finalists from last time, the champions thus far of O's versus the other team as well, going up against Ion, which is looking so good at the same time too. I think Kanga's really the only one sort of sitting in the bottom, but any thoughts on how these games might play out? I know our predictions are going to come up a little bit later on, but do you think Ground Zero or Bliss are just feeling so on par that they could just walk over the competition tonight?
That's exactly what I'm expecting. We're seeing our pretty much respected 1 and 2 seeds coming into the games tonight, and I think anything short of very clean 2-0s out of both of them will be a disappointment for those sides. So I really hope to see that we're continuing this really strong performances that they were showing in the first week.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think one thing I want to talk about, Tally, and I know you've been itching to talk about this. You've been looking at some different, sort of off-meta, maybe some stronger champions at the moment. Do you want to talk us about the latest one? And I want you to break it down for us.
Absolutely. So I'm a bit of a Twisted Fate merchant, and I saw Showmaker coin this build, and I thought it was really, really interesting because... So Jack of all trades, the new rune that was brought in, is something we've seen on a lot of champions, but the builds were being seen to make this rune useful, where you have to do 10 different stats. It's very weird, but Twisted Fate makes use of this rune so well because his core build, all the items he builds, these are all standard items for Twisted Fate, enables him to get those 10 stats, get that extra bit of 900 gold in free stats, the 25 adaptive force, 10 ability haste, which is so nice to get that extra bit of gold. combining that with the fact that First Strike is a more front-loaded rune, so you just get that base 50 in gold every time you proc it, is so nice with Twisted Fate because he doesn't really have that burst to, enable the old First Strike. So this entire build is all about, making money on Twisted Fate, and in combining that with these passive and the, cashback from making money back from legendaries is just so good. The only downside of this build, I'll say, is you have to go Merc Treads because it's the only boot that provides 3 unique stats, whereas the others only give 2. I just think this champion is really good in the current meta. He enables, strong bot lanes, and it's all about 80 carries right now.
Yeah, Tally, do you like this sort of build? Do you like Twisted Fate as a champion on the Rift?
Yeah, absolutely. He's probably my all-time favorite champion. I don't like the 80 iteration. Like, I've always been a fan of AP Twisted Fate. I just think he's way cooler. He's got this nice swagger about him. And I have to say, like, this, this AP Twisted Fate build is very underrated, especially when he reaches late games. The amount of damage he's outputting when he has, like, he's got 600 AP, it's quite insane. A lot of people get caught off guard from it.
Well, hopefully we can see it today, Tally. Fingers crossed. I know Skimmy, he's so riveted right there. He's ready to see it on screen. But ladies and gentlemen, we got some pep in our step as we have the Champion Conundrum. My big one coming up. Let's get this one going. Woo!
Is today the day luck's with you? Is it now your life could renew? Then you must play the game, cause I have to proclaim life's a game of chance.
The ultimate LCO quiz show, something. Again, I knew production was going to throw me under the bus a little bit with that one, making it incredibly hard to remember, but we're going to be doing it. I've come up with a series of phantasmal questions. I say phantasmal because that's better than fantastic for you guys. We're going to be testing Skimmy and Tally's knowledge heading into this one, and let's just get this first question under wraps and underway so we can see what is going to be happening. Now, the ultimate quiz show extravaganza spectacular. How many titles has BioPanther won? Let's have a look at the first fortress. So A is 3, B is 5, C is 6, and D is 8. What is your answer, Skimmy?
Pretty sure it's 5. I'm going to lock in B.
Looking in B?
Yeah, I'm copying.
Tally? You're copying Skimmy?
Yep, I'm reading his homework.
Well, congratulations. B is actually correct. Well done. It is 5. Now, I do have a little side part to that though as well, and I want to hit you guys with this too. Now, how many actual placements for finals was that? Let me say that again. I had it written down and I lost my page. So how many times has he been to a finals? So we know he's won 5. How many times has he been to a finals? It's a different number.
Damn, that's way harder.
That is harder.
I think he's won a lot of the finals he's been in.
Correct.
He's beaten me. I remember that one. I'm going to say, I think he's been in 7 finals.
7.
I'm gonna copy Tally's homework.
You can't just keep copying each other.
Well,
no, it's 6. It is actually 6 that
But that's a crazy win rate. What?
Yeah, it was 2021 Season 11 Pentanut. But we got the next question. We got to keep working through these. So let's just jump in. Question number 2. In Season 12, what was Lemus's most played champion? Let's have a quick look as A is Jinx, B is Draven, C, Aphelios, and D, Ezreal. I'll start with Tally. What do you think?
I think this was the Aphelios meta, if I remember correctly, so I'm going to go with C. I think it's probably C here.
Skimmy, no copying maybe this time, unless you really feel it.
I don't think it's definitely not Ezreal. I don't think he plays enough Draven. It's between A or C.
Yep.
Just for variation, just because that's how we want the quiz to go, I'll go for A. I'll go for Jinx.
Okay, Jinx. Well, answer's locked in, and your answer, drumroll, is Aphelios. 8 games in total played. I'll hit you with the bonus question again. There's only 2 bonus questions.
Oh.
And what was his win rate on that champion throughout the split?
Terrible. I'm pretty sure it was terrible. It was terrible. Or it was Season 13, it was terrible. I think it was like, I'm going to go like 20%.
20%? Good. Skibby?
21.
21? Well, you were definitely the closest. It was actually 25, so you actually only won 2 games out of the 8. So not too great. But question 3, we're rolling straight along. Let's see what we have here. Which team had the highest win rate from Split 2 of 2023 in the LCO? Number 1 is Bliss. 2 or B, Chiefs. C, Mammoth. Or D, Direwolves? Skimmy.
Oh.
Team had.
Ooh.
See, that feels like a bait because it's like from then up until now, Chiefs is static. It doesn't change. It's locked in. Well, it's not COD. It has to be between these two top dogs.
They took games with each other quite a few times.
They did. It was a two-horse race.
Yeah. I made him hard.
Well, I'm going to lock in Chiefs because Tally's here on the show with me.
I like it. Tally,
I
hit me with it.
I can't go past Chiefs. Like, I gotta do my team faithful here. I gotta lock in B.
B, it is locked in for both of you. Unfortunately, you're both wrong. It is Bliss is actually your answer. So Bliss with a 86.7% win rate versus second place, which was Chiefs, at 80%.
That's
So
what
very
Chiefs left
close,
the league, then, I
13
guess.
wins to 2 losses. But we have another question for you. Question 4 is going to be... Wait for it to come up on screen so we have it ready to go. There it is, in the first split ever of the LCO in 2021.
Oh,
What was the most played
I think I know this
jungle
one.
champion? All right. A is Lilia.
Maybe.
B, Karthus. C, Hecarim. Or D, Kayn.
I think it's A.
Can I lock in a C, please, Mr. Pike?
Locking in a C from Tally. C, Hecarim.
Wasn't it?
Skimmy.
Was that when Chem Tank was a thing and it was just like Hecarim and Udyr? all day
Yeah.
long?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what it was. Lilia maybe a little bit later. Karthus, Lilia, Evelyn, Kevy. Yeah. Nah, I'm going to go Hecarim as well. I feel like it was the Chem Tank meta.
It was so you're both locking in C for that one, I believe.
Yep.
The whole C.
Confirmation, it is C. Unfortunately, it's not C.
it's
the
Lilia.
bait and switch, it is Lilia.
I went for A and... go next, bro. Go next. I'm never copying
How
your homework
close is
again,
it?
bro.
22 games on Lilia versus Hecarim, who was a close second at 18 games. So you were so close, guys, but sadly couldn't get the win out of it. But
Yes,
well
analyst
done. I
man.
hope you guys liked my
CBA.
quiz. It was a little bit of fun. But we're going to go to a short break, ladies and gentlemen, as we're just going to let these guys just sort of ruminate on how bad their answers were. We're just going to have to wait and see as we come back to Ground Zero Gaming versus Kanga. Should be a hopping one. We'll have to see you in a sec.
I wasn't ready when everything I reeled. The sirens growing louder, but still not coming through. I wasn't ready when it was time to take the wheel. I was waiting on you. You're amazing. I wasn't ready when the earth began to crumble. Sorrow crashing down on us, our backs against the wall. I wasn't ready, stand proud to be humbled, but you was ready for it all. What I'm saying, you're amazing. Everything is changing, but you keep on getting better. What I'm saying, you're amazing. So I'm hoping and I'm praying that this life will keep us tethered. I wasn't ready for the smackdowns. I wasn't ready when everything came unglued. I wasn't ready to be trapped down. I wasn't ready, ain't ready for much, but I'm ready for you. You're amazing. What I'm saying, you're amazing. Everything is changing, but you keep on getting better. What I'm saying, you're amazing. So I'm hoping and I'm praying that this life will keep us tethered. Now I hold my head up high, I will testify. While you brand me as your own, I'll never fall.
Here's the reason that Kevy's after becomes the Varus. forced out of the stopwatch. It's carnage. They're all charmed at ease. Come on. Oh, kaboom! It's do or die.
And here we are looking so good. Popping off, Tally and Skimmy. Yeah, it was the darkness. I'm scared of the dark a little bit. That's why I've got all these lights on around me. It's the only way I feel comfortable. But no, it is Ground Zero Gaming versus Kanga. This is definitely a series I think all of us were sort of really excited for. But let's just jump straight into the first lineup. We got Ground Zero here, Skimmy. What a team.
What a team. It's 4 handsome blokes with 1 DLC character in the mid lane, aka the second coming of Kissei, obviously smashing overseas, but Fido, an absolute legend in his own right. We talk about unique champions in the mid lane. He certainly has it. We joke about the idea of a bingo. I would like to see some of those champions come out here today, but from top to bottom, they seem to have settled in really, really well. Absolutely crushing it in week 1 up against Mammoth, and the likes of Fido, as well as Kurak, not looking out of place. So really keen to see if they can run it back and have another really good split.
Yeah, I had a really good chat with Shenfire about Kurak as well, and he just said this player is soaking up in so much knowledge. So I'm really keen to see how he's going to develop through the split. But Tally, have you got any notes on this team in particular? I know TN's been looking so good, but anyone else sort of piquing your interest right now?
Definitely Fido. I think that like he's kind of rewriting the story about him as a player. I remember in the past, like Fido was always like a middling player, always on like the middle teams, but probably a player who was a bit above the pay grade of the teams he was playing on. It's really nice to see that he's on such a strong roster now, because I always considered him like a very, very strong laner, and he's very good at punishing you 1v1, but he was never really enabled. He was always, getting picked on by junglers and support, so it's good to see that he finally has like the expertise of Shenfire to make sure that like he can play his lane really well and succeed in the 1v1.
Yeah, it's all about it, right? Like, it's the difference between a solo queue game and like a pro level game, right? Is you got to play as a unit, you got to play as a team. If you don't have that same sort of level, you can't really pull it off. But we have another team that's looking to pull it off tonight as well. We got Kanga here, Tally, and this team, I think they've got a couple things up their sleeve. I'm looking at Sovereign too.
Yeah, I am definitely also looking at Sovereign. Like, I love seeing new mid laners come into the league, and like knowing these players from solo queue, I know what their potential is and what they can do. I'm just really excited to see if they can finally prove themselves on stage. I think Kanga as a whole has a lot to prove. There are a lot of unknowns going into this roster, and I would have to see, like, do they have the potential to be able to contest the other rosters who are pushing for playoffs, or are they going to fall over without even trying?
Yeah, but it's also at the same time as well, Skimmy, I want to talk about, it is still a fairly fresh roster, and we mentioned that. Do you think that's good for them, or do you think this is going to be a bit harder for them moving forward as well?
Well, based on what we just saw there, it's another roster base, completely different to what they submitted in this first week, right? A whole bunch of different faces showing up. So Sovereign and Woodon's still around, but other 3 members have been interchanged. So I'm curious what that means. Is that going to be a rolling roster? Are we going to be changing parts in and out in those initial few weeks to figure out what our strongest 5 is? Or is it just a little bit of experimentation? They've already got a bit of a picture as to who they want, because I thought Yojin was going to be this really hot prospect. Not going to be showing up here tonight. So keen to see what they've got in store for us. Maybe it's a case of, God forbid, like, oh, we're up against Grand Zero, we're going to get smashed. Let's just try something different here. You never know. You never know.
Got to keep it spicy, right? You got to change things up on people, keep them guessing. That's the only way to exceed expectations. But I believe we do have Tien from Ground Zero joining us on the interview right off the bat. G'day, mate. How are you doing this evening? And are you excited for tonight's games?
I kind of just woke up like half an hour ago, so kind of want to get the game done with and go back to sleep. So yeah, let's wrap it up.
Beautiful, we love a late riser. I just want to ask a bit more about your team, since you guys have like had a dynamic shift. Like, you have a new mid lane, you have a new support, and you have Benby going to coach. Like, how is that like dynamic working? And like, are you guys doing stuff differently from Split 1, or is it just like the same old?
Thank God, Ron's won. Now I can get ganks. Like, oh my God, Shenfire, I can actually come top now. No longer need it. I can call Dimitri. Yo, nah, Shen, you don't need to go mid. Come to my lane. Come top. Dive top. Yeah, it's great.
We love a top laner.
I love that. I actually wanted to talk to you about this, Benby moving to the coach role, right? I think that's something that is a bit new, because you were both teammates. Now he's sort of charging up a little bit. I know Shenfire's leading the charge. How are you finding Benby in this role? Are you enjoying him as your coach?
it's way better when he's a coach because when you're like teammates, it's harder to flame like your support. But now that he's a coach, when you have arguments, it's like way easier to argue because like you know that at the end of your argument, you don't have to play with this guy. That you only have to talk with him at the end of reviews. So, but apart from that, he's actually a really good coach. So he's fitting into the role really nicely.
That's what we like here. I know he's done a bit of coaching, but mate, Skip,
Wait,
anything you'd
quick.
like to ask? Yeah, I want to.
Quick,
Yeah.
I have to ask the most important question ever.
Yes.
Tien, Big Dog, obviously fantastic at Riven. You're up against Woodon that loves to play Riven. Tell me, give me some good news here. Tell me, you're getting those ganks from Schönfire, you're 1v9ing, you're taking over the game. We're going straight to YouTube for montages.
Hopefully we see some montages. I think I have benched the Riven Throne. I no longer like this champion. If a champion that I want to play, I'm only playing Lee Sin. Like, no more Riven. Champion's trash. Right, please buff Riven.
Poppy every single game.
GG.
Yep, GG.
As long as it's not Cassante for me personally, but let's not worry about that. Well, Tian, thank you so much for coming on to this show for us. Really appreciate you coming out. Good luck in your series and can't wait to see you up there.
Alright, thank you.
Man's out. The confidence.
In and
He
out.
just woke up half an hour ago. He's still got the sleep in his eye and he's like, oh wait, we're playing a game? Hold on.
We had so many of those back in the day, right? It would be a case of like, I've just woken up, I've had my cereal, I'm ready for stage. And you're just like, fair enough, mate, what'd you have? And it's like, oh yeah, I've had some of this, I've had some orange juice. If you've not had that, you're not ready to win a game, Pike. We've learned that some players just operate differently.
Been there.
That's true. Like, I know I operate differently. I know me and Skimmy are both like really up on the caffeine right now, and we're definitely feeling that. Tally, have you had your maybe your nap or your energy drink or whatever? How are you prepping?
I had a late rise. I will admit I was in the Rift at 4:30 in the morning last night, so had a bit of a sleep in, had my tea, you know, ready to go, ready for a good game.
He's just so dedicated, chat.
Look at
He's
that.
so dedicated. He's like, yep, we finished the LCO. Great. Let's just jump straight into solo queue till the early hours in the morning. Not worry about the day. Don't even worry about lunch or breakfast. Straight to dinner, straight to the next LCO. You know what? I wish my day looked like that.
Budgeting.
Really didn't, which really sucks. But we are looking forward to this series. We know Ground Zero is that top tier team. We have to see if they're going to pull out those big wins. I'm hoping for some big plays from Schönfire. I think they've been grinding pretty hard, and looking at their solo queue, I think they've been playing some pretty top-notch stuff. Do you think we could expect to see something a little bit different with today's meta Skimmy, though?
Potentially. I think if there's ever a chance for you to try and explore and do something a little bit different, this would be the kind of game for it. You'd expect Ground Zero to be like the majority favorite. I'm saying like 90% to 10, like something really heavy-handed in their favor. We saw the Nidalee come out from him last week. Obviously, we know he can play carries like the Brand, the Talia, and so on. Maybe it's a chance to show some more stuff out there. If not, maybe just more repetitions to get that synergy, that 2v2 with Firetoe under wraps. So, different approach based on where they feel they're at right now.
Either way, I think they're feeling pretty comfortable with where they're at, but we have Fury from Kanga looking to jump onto your screens right for you, mate.
Yo!
How you doing? Oh, I caught the gist of that one. I know Fury's gist. How are you, mate? You feeling good for tonight? New roster, new
Good,
players.
like-
How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling as well as a autofill player can feel, I guess. Feel. How are you doing? How's the hosting being for you?
Look, you know what? Thank you for asking. Really good. Really good. Incredibly out of my comfort zone, but it's like it's where I like to sit, you know? It's just, you just got to vibe with it. But how's your team feeling? You got some new players on the roster, especially for tonight. You said you're auto feeling. Like, are we expecting to see a couple interesting plays, or are you going to be playing it kind of safe tonight?
I mean, I'll be honest, just hush hush boys. I started playing jungle 2 days ago, so I've played intro bots of Master Yi this morning. So maybe something like that will happen.
Very, very nice. Mate, obviously, this split has been one of many role swaps with everybody returning or coming back and saying, you know what, I'm bored of that lane. I want to do this one. Now, I know you're a mid laner. You've now gone into jungle. You've obviously tried out casting. So is that just a natural progression? We role swap all the way to top lane and then out of the rift into this position?
Yeah, Skimmy, you're onto it. Next, I'm going to be like playing WoW with you professionally, so it's just all over the place.
Yeah, we need,
That sounds
we need a tank.
perfect.
We need a tank, please.
Yeah. Me and Tally need more people to play with. So that's
Please.
absolutely fantastic.
I'm more of a healer, but I can,
But
I
on
can
a
try
serious
tank.
note-
We'll see.
Oh, that works as well. On a really serious note, what are we thinking? Obviously, we've had people go from jungle to top, and then vice versa. In your case, you're going from a lane into jungle. What are we thinking actually transitions quite well there for you? With the limited amount of time, obviously Master Yi bots probably aren't the hardest competition for a player like you, so are we thinking like Veigar jungle? What's cooking, especially into something like Schönfire?
Yeah, so I'm just going to be pulling out like Trinimir jungle. We're just going to ghost level 1. I'm just going to fist fight him to death, and that's probably all she wrote.
Beautiful.
It's going
I'm
to go
excited,
ham.
mate.
That's all I want. Just your right arm is stronger than your left arm. That's all we need. That's fine. That's how you carry. You don't need a
Yeah,
keyboard.
yeah.
You just need a mouse, and you're good. Well, mate, thank you so much for coming on. It's
Well, I
so
don't
good to
even
see
have
your
a
face.
mouse, I use
Sadly, I know
pedals,
he's
like-
gunning for my job. What?
Yeah, I'm using pedals tonight, so no hands free today.
Ah!
He's got the dance pad like underneath, and he's just doing like the hectic like feet work sort of stuff. I'm doing it in UGG boots. That's probably not the way to do it.
That would be like
I'm
a,
sorry,
like
mate,
a
thank you
great
again.
YouTube video. Beat LCO winners with pedals and autofilled. There you go.
Yumi jungle.
Montage.
Done.
Yumi jungle. I've talked about this at length on many other things, but we won't get into that. But mate, thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to see you play. You can't have my host role just yet. I've only just got it, so maybe next split, maybe the split after if you're lucky. But again, good luck in your games tonight. Can't wait to see what you pull out in the jungle.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck.
What a golden ray of sunshine, if I'm being genuine.
Look, he's a good yarner.
Beautiful.
He loves a good chat with the boys.
Oh, he's just so nice. It's like, I've talked to him outside of this as well. He's always good for a chat. He just loves having a yarn. It's great. It's what we need.
It is what we need.
Everyone needs one.
Yeah. But we do have a side select as well here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a quick look at what these teams have decided to pull out. Tally, it's a bit of a mix-up this time. GZ, blue. Kanga on red.
Yeah, it's the same story we're seeing pretty much every series. Is like we're going one blue, one red. Both teams are saying on one side as we're going to get like the 2 games from the series. It just goes to show that like I think a lot of the top teams do favor blue side. A lot more bot priority, a lot more access to like, you know, dragons, the easier rotations towards bot lane. It's just easier to draft when you get to pick your bot lane together as well on the 2-3. I think that's, you know, the story we're going to keep seeing. And then, like, I think red side gives you a lot more variability in draft. You can, you know, pull out stuff, you can surprise teams. And it's exactly what, like, these weaker teams need to do to, like, take points off the top teams.
Yeah, it's gonna. Do you think that's going to be quite a big note for us? I think Tally put the nail on the head for that one, saying that it's the comfortability of blue side where you get the strong picks. But at the same time, do you think it's good to have those counter picks? Is that what you think the red side's looking to sort of get?
Yeah, I think generally speaking, that has always been the case, right? And I think, at least in my mind, if you're the weaker team going into a matchup, you probably do value the red side a little bit more to try and find that kind of weird and wacky pick that throws them off balance. I think if you're the stronger squad, then yeah, blue side, you just lock in that OP champion and know that, okay, we're better than you. We've got a broken champion that we can build this around. Bob's your uncle, so double blue side for Grand Zero. I'm keen to see what they value as a first pick priority. Probably just an AD carry. If not, maybe a top lane Skarner. I'm putting it out there into the abyss. Now, if it happens, I look incredibly smart. If it doesn't, nothing happened.
And we love you looking smart, but we also love our viewers to look as smart as possible. And the best way to do that is to get your channel points in. I did it again. Thank the Lord there's no montage again. Pop in your Twitch channel points right now to see who's going to take home the game 1. Is it going to be Ground Zero coming in still as a hot favorite? Is Kanga and Refury in that jungle position going to be taking it home as well? Quite keen to see that. But we have our predictions as well, as that does lead perfectly into it. Let's see what we're all saying. Pretty standard across the board, Skimmy.
Yeah, look, I said 90-10 before, maybe even higher now based on the roster we've seen. Autofills, new players, new ideas. How do you put it nicely? I feel like this could be like a 30-minute series. I think it could be kind of brutal. I think it could be. But at the same time, it could be kind of exciting. It all just depends what both teams' approach to this matchup is, right? Ground Zero, do they want to experiment? Or do they want to wrap it up, get back to scrims, back to solo queue, or in TN's case, back to sleep?
Quick nap. But Tally, why have you gone for the 2-0?
I mean,
Besides that great point.
it's pretty hard to go past GZ. I think they're like really in form. I think the roster changes are good. I think Benby is like his drafts are very nice. I think that this team is just gonna come out and like have 2 very clean games. I don't expect any less than that. But on the other hand, I will say the one saving grace for Kanga right now is that since they have so many like unknown factors going to this game, as a more veteran side in Ground Zero, those are the kind of things that catch you off. Like you're very used to playing the same things over and over and over and over. So when you verse someone who is an off-roll jungler, they don't do very common pass. They do really weird ganks. You have players that might pull out weird champions. So like these are the kind of things that catch you off and they can blow games up.
That's the biggest thing, right, as well. Like, even in solo queue, you can be, like, at a master tier level and you come back down to, like, plat or gold and you're now versing players that aren't doing things that you're so used to. And then out of nowhere, you're getting beaten because they're just so left field and it catches you so off guard. So maybe we are expecting a little bit of that. Sadly, I went with the 2-0 as well for GZ. I think the confidence I heard from when I was talking with Schernfire and especially with Kurak and how well he's progressing, even in solo queue as well, I'm excited to see how they're actually stepping up their gameplay because they have their sights set on a big PCS win. And I think another team tonight is looking for the same thing, but at the same time, Ground Zero, they're still the champions thus far. We'll have to see what they're going to look to do, so I'm pretty keen for that. So do you think we'd get a Skarner game though, Skimmy? Are you quite excited? But you know what? Don't even worry about that because we have a game. We're going to see that Skarner picked up. I'm going to hand it over to you boys right now. Take it away. I'm going home.
Yeah, you are home. Well, you've gone away from the screen. Now it's just me and Tally talking. So home in a different way. Tally, let's kickstart another season, another day, I suppose, of getting to see what these players have in mind as the go-to champions. They've done their reviewing of the rest of the world and thought, you know what, that's where we want to settle on. Has it been a week of practicing new stuff? Perhaps a week of refining what they're already good at? Different rosters, different ideas, and different players to maybe cause what would be a pretty big upset if it went Kanga's way.
Don't worry, Skimmy. I've been doing my due diligence. I've been DMing players. I've been showing them clips. I'll be like, dude, look how broken this Scorpion is. Like, look at the work he's doing. And now it's
you're planting.
It's in the back of everyone's head. They're all thinking about it now. So they're worried about the champ now. I know that for sure. So we'll have to see if they do want to pull it out today. I do think it's probably, you know, one of the best top laners on the patch right now. Also really cool that it is a jungle flex. So this champ has a lot of power in draft because flex picks are just so strong. You get to, you know, pick a champion and then hide where it's going. So it's very hard to just, you know, pull out a counter pick. Which is one of the strongest values of blue side. If you can pick a champ early that is a flex pick, you get to hide your intentions while also, you know, having the game plan in mind.
That's exactly right. And I remember asking you last week, was Skarner first pick worthy? I think back then we were kind of still on the fence of like, yeah, maybe. It looks all right, but it needs some certain conditions to work. With this all in mind, and with all the propaganda, or maybe not even propaganda, all the good work you've been doing, putting it in the back of these players' minds, do you think Skarner now is a first pick worthy champion?
Yeah, definitely. To me, when I think of a first pick, I think of a champion who can do something that no other champs can do. And a lot of AD carries do the same thing. Like, they're all really strong, but a lot of them do the same thing. A lot of junglers can do the same thing, but like when I look at top laners, there's only like 2 tanks to me that stick out, and that's K'Sante and Skarner. And I feel like, you know, we're going to see a lot of K'Sante being banned, honestly, because I feel like that champ is overperforming right now and it's a bit too comfortable for most teams. But the Skarner's gone, Skibby. It's gone already.
The Skarner has been banned. It's very sad, but in saying that, we're going to get Lemus to treat us with some top-tier Caitlyn gameplay, which we've been lacking for a fair bit of time. Jhin gets denied, same for the Corki, so it is to be expected then that something new will come about as a result. No Lucian Nami on this occasion. Nami was up and available, but instead they want to go for the Milio.
Yeah, I think Milio is like a good blanket answer to the CC pairings you want to go with Caitlyn. A lot of the time you want to play, you know, like the Lux, the Morgana, maybe even the Leona as we're seeing a hover. It's just really nice to pair with the Yordle Snap Trap. And Milio is just really good at dealing with that. When, you know, you pop the ult, you get the cleanse plus the tenacity. You can also run defensive summons yourself, so you're not a target for getting, you know, taken out of the game. So it's just it's a decent answer and a very good pairing with Lucian.
Very last moment there, they do actually switch out the Leona into the Nautilus. The only 2 supports that Kurek has played so far look really, really comfortable on the Leona when they paired it with the Jhin. But with the Caitlyn, not going to be opting for that Lux Morgana Enchanter option. Much more about the aggression, which I think certainly has been Kurek's strongest brand so far. We'll get to see how they want to round things out in the first half of this draft. Do they want to lock in a mid laner, for example? Do you even want to guarantee a jungler at this stage? And the Poppy gets hovered, gets locked in now. We always joke about it that Tien absolutely loves it, but there is a world in which Schernfire says maybe I play it.
Yeah, more than likely, or most likely, Ishunas is going to go top lane at the end. But once again, like, this is a potential flex pick, so like Kanga don't feel too confident about picking a top lane counter right here because, you know, a lot of the champs that outright counter Poppy, you know, could be you can just, you know, throw the Poppy in the jungle, flex pick something top that counters the counter pick, and you're in a must-happy position on the blue side.
It certainly would be. Twisted Fate then come on through. Whether or not it's going to be the build that you're after, we'll have to wait and see. It's been locked in for Sovereign. So maybe a little bit of premonition that it could be going towards that mid lane, but they'll get the first pick on the letter to decide what they want to ban away in the second half of this banning phase, with a whole bunch of AD carries already removed and with theirs already being locked in. You'd imagine we're looking more towards top or mid, obviously still considering where this Poppy could be going.
Yeah, so like we see Kanga already banning out top lanes. They're most likely trying to, you know, hold this TF as a flex, but they want to position it in the top lane. They're going to ban out stuff that is going to, you know, have a lot of kill pressure onto the TF, counter him in the side lane. We'll see stuff like the kill being removed. Probably not really sure what else they might remove, but they just want to protect the TF as much as possible because they consider it one of their like main carry threats right now in the draft.
Do you think Twisted Fate is still in a world in which you can flex it between, say, like top lane and AD carry? Obviously, we saw Zoranus play it earlier in the week, or actually last week, I believe it was. So we still know it's viable there. But do you think AD carry Twisted Fate has been completely killed off?
I think it was never a thing to begin with. I think it was just the meme pick that Ose had for a while, and I think it's always just been a really good solo laner. TF is just really good with a lot more gold. You find a lot more gold in solo lanes. You're able to get to your your rapid fire spike much earlier, and like you're a really good side laner, and you can't do that as an AD carry. You're always forced to. You want to be in the mid lane. You want to be grouping. You want to be with your team, and like TF always wants to be pushing out sides and abusing his numbers advantage, abusing that like destiny, and just creating mismatched numbers on the map.
Yeah, so I suppose it basically is kind of sort of like it's a bit of a meme build, which isn't fully taking advantage of the kit that Twisted Fate has available to them. Well, let's see then what Kanga decide to pair with this. Currently hovering the Jarvan, that would give them a pretty easy avenue of saying we see a target, we engage in it, we have the burst to match it, be it gold cards or even the Lucian to smack them down. But I am seeing more and more value then be found here for the Poppy to try and deny a bit of this mobility, and I'm sure Grand Zero are quietly smiling.
Yeah, definitely. Like, if you have the Poppy and you see someone pick Jarvan to you, you're absolutely happy. This is probably one of the worst matchups for Jarvan. It's really hard for him to escape when Poppy is on top of Jarvan. He can't use the EQ to get out. The Cataclysm you can't cancel those, so that's the one saving grace. But it could be a champion pool issue, or maybe they need this specific champion to be able to deal with like what Ground Zero are going to bring out, because it's quite hard to play Jarvan in this position.
Does it not, though, feel like, Tally, we've just played bingo? We've got a classic here for Fido Tristana, Schönfire Brand, Tien on the likes of Poppy, and then a Malphite. Literally, Kanga have said, you know what, these last few picks, we're playing for the biggest wombo combo. If we're down 10k gold, it is still winnable.
Yeah, I think Malphite is an extremely underrated champion, especially into double AD carry. Like, you find so much value in that ground slam, even if they are mobile and they can, dodge your ult, flash your ult. It's the fact that, like, if you land ground slam on them in a team fight, you pretty much, like, nullify their DPS for, a very long time, and it's so hard to deal with these tanks. Like, we even see like Rammus being really good into double AD carries as well. It's very hard to deal with these like strong tanks who are able to shut down your AD carries when they're your main DPS. But the one saving grace for Ground Zero is like they have gone for the flex. They've picked the Brand in the jungle, which is really, really good into dive comps, and it's very hard to get out once Brand starts popping like his passive, the Pyroclasm, the Rylai slow on like your entire team. Like, you pretty much go in and you will not be able to get out.
Well, that's what I was thinking about, right? If you do make that misstep of, throwing all the, guns blazing and try and get that one pick, makes it very easy then, obviously, for Brand, with you being grouped up together, just to spread the damage like wildfire. I am just curious, though, to the point of the Malphite, whether or not we get a world in which, you Ground Slam, Frozen Heart, Randuin's, everything under the sun, and it's like, well, good luck AD carries doing any kind of damage. Obviously, they have insane range, be it Tristana as well as Caitlyn, so easier said than done. It may just be one of those crazy little shuffles in from the Malphite to try and get the party started. And if that is confirmed, it looks like it could be a mid Malphite, which would make things a little bit spicier. Here it is. So Sovereign right at the gates is saying, you saw me last week have a pretty impressive first showing here in the LCO, to be fair, as a rookie. Now he wants to open up the gates here with a Malphite and say, I've got more left in me.
Yeah, see, we've let them cook. Kanga have cooked the draft here, so this is what I'm talking about with like these bottom teams. They gotta pull out some unknowns to be able to do some stuff that like Ground Zero aren't comfortable versing, and like Malphite mid is definitely one of them. I think that like this is a champion you can't jump in on as Tristana, and like Tristana can't really abuse her kit. Like, of course Tristana is just constantly gonna get priority, be able to move around the map, but you really deny that ability to jump in lane, play for kill pressure. If he does go for the full AP, it's, I could see it really working. You have the one-shot potential through the early game. I have to see how well he's able to farm and get resources, though, because we've all seen AP Malphite now solo queue games, and like what happens if their champ doesn't snowball.
Doesn't snowball, does feel like a bit of a wet noodle, and almost a second NPC for Fido to try and farm there in that mid lane. But it does feel to me like we've got two very strong statistics or styles, right? It's the comfort for Grand Zero, it's the craziness of Kanga, And is that enough for them to try and bridge the gap in skill differences here? Not only that, but also the experience on top of that, having just experienced a DreamHack Grand Final with a crowd around to rally you up. So I suppose this really is one of those big asks for them. Grand Zero undefeated, Kanga yet to find a victory. And, you know, not afraid to showcase that we've got a new roster ready to take to the Rift here tonight. And we've got some treats in store for you as well. And I think, you know, having been a pro yourself, Telly, do you ever worry too much if you see a draft like this? Do you look at that and go, oh, I've not experienced this? Or do you just think, look, guys, they're trying something cheesy, just focus on our game plan?
Yeah, it's when I look at these kind of comps, if I play against them, it's all about just, you know, trying to make the game as stable as possible. As long as like you don't let the enemy team snowball, you're gonna auto win once you hit mid game because you know you've drafted a better comp. Your champs are much better. There's a reason why their champs are played consistently and like the Malphite mid isn't, the Jarvan jungle isn't, is because these champs from behind or from even states are not good. You just have to make sure that you play a very stable game and there are no variables that like just completely blow the game out of water, and you'll just auto win. You'll be very comfortable because you know you're the better team.
Well, that's it. I think looking at this one then, what would you look to try and derive? Having been in situations as well like this where it is a very mismatched affair, is it for you just a case of more reps on stage with your team, figuring out, all right, this style works for us? Or is there more that, you know, people don't even consider about?
If I was looking at this from Kanga's perspective, it's just all about, you know, showing signs of life. So I think that Ground Zero should have a very, very clean 2-0 performance today. I think that they're quite a dominant team. They're very, very good at punishing weaker teams, and they're, you know, one of our better teams in the region. And I think that if Kanga can show like signs of life with, you know, substitutes, constantly shifting rosters, it's really good for the players that are going to be on the rosters in the future that will, you know, stay around, make sure they get a bit of confidence, get a bit of practice against better players. You just get to understand, you know, why you lose in certain ways, because you don't really get this experience from playing solo queue. Like you don't get to play in these very niche scenarios that you would only get to experience against the, you know, the best players in our region and in competitive environments.
Well, it's a good point. It's also worth noting that weeks following this one will get a little bit easier for Kanga. Next week it'll be up against Mammoth, followed then by a Direwolves into Fury thereafter. So they're going to have to endure a bit of a beatdown in these early few weeks to, I suppose, try and figure out, okay, what is our core strongest 5-man roster, and what is the brand of League of Legends we want to bring to the table? Because it feels very amiss that we don't really see too many early game focused rosters, right? I think back in the day, we would have had some pretty strong teams, even some of the Chiefs rosters you've been on, right? Where it was a case of you're up, you know, X amount of gold, be it 5k at 15 minutes. But majority of the time, we have just seen teams just opt for the scaling, greed the side laning, and just hope, I've hit 3-4 items, guys. Maybe, just maybe, I could 1v9 because I have better macro or better understanding of, you know, how to try and really push that lead.
Yeah, it's definitely like one way to play the game. I would say though, as like the stronger team, it's probably the easier way to win the game because you just understand more about, you know, income, how to make as much gold as possible. I think that we don't really see that in laning phase because a lot of these players, even like the rookies, know how to lane, they know how to like create advantages. But the main difference I see is when you hit mid game, a lot of the gold in side lanes or like jungle camps is just wasted and it's not very efficient. So you always see like CS leads created by the players who have been in the scenarios much more. I think that's something that a lot of the you know, newer players or like the rookies could improve on, is, you know, staying consistent. I think that Chirp is someone who does this, but maybe to an extreme extent where he overcommits to farming and then, you know, keeps scaling a bit too much and probably missed his window to like impact the game when he finds these leads in lane. But it's just all about, you know, just being as efficient as possible while, you know, not missing your windows to abuse the game where your champs are strong, and making sure that your team is still able to play the game without sacrificing positions because you're being a bit too greedy.
Yes, it's certainly a few things to take into consideration, and I suppose also at the same time to keep you guys in the loop. Bit of a delay in terms of us getting this game started. One of the players is disconnected, so unfortunately we will have to jump to a very quick break to get ourselves ready and rocking to kickstart yet another day of League of Legends. We'll see you very shortly.
Take me out, take me out, take me out, take me anywhere. limit. Your story will radiate our glory. This is it, this is it, this is it. Gonna do it right now. How'd you know, how'd you know, how'd you know? The sky's the limit, the future will fly by. Feel the rapture, here's the breakdown. We couldn't do this better on our own. A declaration to our rivals that we will overcome. There's no avoiding as we storm into the daylight. I'm aware we're so strong, we'll be victorious. We'll dominate your story, we'll radiate our glory.
Here's the reason that Kevy's after becomes the Varus. Forced out of the stopwatch, it's carnage! They're all charmed it is, come on! Oh, kaboom! It's do or die! And welcome back. Thank you for bearing with us. And thank you for bearing with us as we get ourselves ready and underway to kickstart our first game of the night. If you've just tuned in, you've missed nothing. The game has yet to begin, so there's no need to worry and get yourself all upset in chat, talking to each other, saying, where is the game? What is happening? Please, casters, start. Because, Tally, we can't. We're just beautiful voices talking to you.
Please.
We have no control. We have no control.
Please start the game, please.
Yes, it happens like that, doesn't it? It really does happen like that. Look, I know it's a bit of a different thing, right? On stage games, especially like the internationals, what was the rule? Something like you're not allowed to talk, but then when you're at home, right, you can just do whatever you like.
It's similar. You're not allowed. So during a pause, you're not allowed to communicate with your teams because, like, you know, you could have like some secret, communication that you're using for specific stuff in games. So just pretty much no communication during pauses is allowed. There is an exception to that rule though. Like if pauses go an extreme length, they allow you to talk. You're able to talk about the game. Like it's just to allow the players, to be able to not just sit there in silence the entire time. And it's not like you're stuck on stage. If you're there, you're allowed to get up, go to the toilet if you wanted to, but you just have to be like escorted.
Yeah, you got to make sure you got no secret tech as you go to the bathroom, hand over some notes or anything crazy like that, right? It's like, hey, what's this guy doing? It's like, yeah, draft Pike. This champion's broken. Oh, okay, yep. That was worth going for the toilet break for. But look, hopefully we shouldn't be too much longer. I thought the break would have been enough for us to get ourselves sorted. Clearly, the Australian internet has let us down again. And look, Tally, we always have our rants about the internet. We love it, we hate it. I don't really know what else to describe it for. I think for me, the funniest thing was going over to South Korea for the first time, hopping on a public bus, and just the free Wi-Fi on the bus being better than my home internet. That's what I realized. Like, I'm just pissed.
You're just walking down the street in South Korea and you just connect to some random like public Wi-Fi and you just have 100 down, and you're just like, what?
It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy to think that, like, if you were that desperate, you could just proc the laptop in the middle of the street and you're just playing games there and it's quicker than your home internet. You're just thinking, what am I doing? Why do I not live here anymore? And then you realize you're just not good enough to compete with the Korean League solo queue players. So with all that in mind, and now that I put a bit of a damper, I suppose, on things, let's kind of refine what we had as a comp, because it's been a little bit of a time since we got to see what those two drafts were. For Grand Zero, it was just a whole bunch of comfort, right? Tien on Poppy, Schoenfire playing the brand, Fighter on his covered hit, Tristana. As for Kanga, it started off in a bit of a familiar fashion, right? You would say Lucian Milio, not too crazy compared to like a Lucian Nami, but then those last two picks with a Java and Malphite into the Poppy, it was like, all right, we don't actually care. We were always gunning for this comp.
Yeah, the one benefit though is that Poppy has gone top, so it's not going to find the same presence in like the early mid-game skirmishes where she can mark the Jarvan and make sure that he is unable to engage or like escape from fights. She's going to be in top lane, surviving against the Twisted Fate. I would assume Twisted Fate is going to be able to pressure this lane, but I think Poppy is also an extremely strong lane. I feel like when she does pick up the tabbies, throwing the buckler and the ability to gap close onto TF could become a problem for him in the 1v1, but we'll have to see. I do think Tien is a very proficient Poppy player though, so I'm curious to how the matchup will go. I do think though the bot lane for Ground Zero isn't so much like it's a pairing bot lane. It's more so like Caitlyn is very strong and Nautilus does a really good job into Lucian. It's very hard to play Lucian into Nautilus because you don't have like I can dash forward, they have no CC. It's like if I dash forward, I will get hit by a hook, I will get trapped, I will get one shot. So it's just always like the threat of you can't really use your entire kit in the lane until you have a minion wave able to block for you, or like Nautilus is mispositioning and can't really punish you for playing aggressive.
That's true, and also like supports do an absurd amount of damage, right? The fact that we sometimes see like a Leona just solo somebody, and you're thinking, hang on a minute, right? Like these supports get 0 money, they like sit on like 1, maybe 1.5 items the entire game, and then it's just like, but how did he just kill me? So look, we know that Kurak is an absolute wizard when it comes to playing support and will play pretty much anything. At this stage, it's been pretty refined for his standards. I think he's almost hyped him up a little bit too much, rocking things like Zillion and so on. So I'm sure he'll find his moment during the split to, you know, put the idea out there to Benvi and say, look, mate, you play crazy stuff like the Heimer Digger. Just let me have my own champion to solidify my status as the new support in the region. But look, we're hard stuck the pools here, Telly. And sometimes that's just the way things go. I mean, I actually wonder what the boys are talking about, given this has gone on for a fair bit of time. Are we just like laughing? We just in the lobby the entire time bantering like, oh, this guy's got Dodo internet, my bad.
It's probably just a lot of bantering because, you know, the League Ops will give them a reminder. It's like, okay, we've fixed the issue's been fixed. We're going to resume the game, and then they and then, yeah, as we are back in the game, they're going to be like, okay, guys, we're going back in the game in a minute. And then at that point, most teams will start talking about like, okay, how's your matchup go? Who gets priority? I'm going to part here. Like, I want to play for the first objective like this. You know, it's just, you know, getting everyone back on the same page.
Well, should we briefly talk about that then? In terms of, let's start on the left-hand side for the favorites in Grand Zero. What should their game plan be? And then I suppose, if there's nothing too crazy that happens the level 1 mark, what we should expect to see from Kanga in response?
Well, yeah, the good thing about Ground Zero is they don't have to do anything. They could just farm. Shone could just full clear over and over and over, and they will auto-win this game, because once they hit mid-game, if they are not behind, it's so hard to play into this comp as Kanga. Like, most of your champions are countered by the flash button, which is unfortunate, and you're just not going to have the same DPS or threat that this team will. I think that Ground Zero's drafted a really nice comp. Whereas on the other hand, Kanga, they need to snowball. They have the tools to do it. You know, Jarvan's a really good early ganker. He can do really creative paths, so he'll be able to find ganks onto champs who aren't expecting it. We are actually seeing the lane swap coming through here, though, which is very nice, because I think Tristana is one of the better matchups into Twisted Fate. You jump onto Twisted Fate and he gets slowed, and even though you can gold card you, it's not really going to do anything, because once that stun runs out, you're still slowed, and Tristana's going to find all that damage follow-up with the explosive shot.
That's right, exactly, yeah. Still has the range, still has the ability to stack up that explosive shot to do big damage as a result. I am curious to the point you mentioned about the Jarvan snowball capacity. Obviously, Refury being incredibly humble in his interview to say, I've had 2 days worth of practicing this role. It's going to be rough, especially when you go into somebody like Schönfire. Will he do anything wild, like a red buff into a level 2 gank to try and get the ball rolling? Or will he go for the classic free camp clear? We'll have to wait and see. As you saw Kurak there, trying to really wrestle for level 2 control, and looks to be successful.
Yeah, it's just going to steal this bot lane playlist pretty much. Like, when Kaylin gets bush control, she's going to have so much pressure in the lane. You know, being able to stack up the headshot, like, every second auto is so nice. You know, get that extra bit of damage coming out of the lane. And, like, when Nautilus has control of the lane, he can walk past the wave. It's very hard to play against this champion. Like, it's so hard to trade back against the fact that he can just, you know, hook you, snare you, has aftershocks, so he takes 0 damage, and is constant get prior. I'm curious if Refury does want to play for Invade. It looks like he is going for the recall. Like, one of the common patterns into Brand is, you know, invading him on the full clear, because Brand is a very squishy champ early game, and he always plays for this full clear because he wants to be efficient. So one of the better punishes into Brand and these like mage junglers, you know, is invading them on the on their 4th or 5th camp, because they are so susceptible to, you know, being 1v1 by these strong early game champs.
But in saying that, obviously he's going to require a fair bit of proficiency in that role, and a degree of confidence and comfort knowing that you can get away with it, that your team has bought into this idea. We want to talk about this lane swap a little bit more. We might see already that be breaking apart, as Shone has gone for the full clear, now linking up with Tien back to the lane that he belongs in. Going to look for not only a crash, but a 3-man dive, it would seem. Card going out already from Woodon, who's already burnt that ghost. A flash knockback from the Poppy. Really trying to hard force this one, but it almost looks a little bit too early there by Tien. The rest of his team just out of range to truly assist.
Yeah, Shone just wants to walk into the lane and push the wave as fast as possible, but by doing that, he shows the intention that they want to dive. So Woodon, you know, pops the ghost and runs away. You know, good foresight to think that Tien is not showing in lane, so he needs to drop the ward, have a bit of vision. Just a bit of an overextension from Ground Zero, but like, I understand their intention. Like, they want to dive the 1v1 and make sure this Tristana snowballs as hard as possible, because she can totally take over the game if she's allowed.
She certainly can. Nothing seemingly getting lost as a result of this one, as Tien did actually stick in top lane for a little bit, went back, and then ended up actually TPing back to lane. So back into mid he goes, nothing lost in the end, and no true punishment from that failed first blood attempt. And I am curious to see how long this lane swap happens for, because Sovereign's actually forced this out and said, no, I want to match up into this Tristana. And straight away, he's already dropped Fighter down to 50.
Yeah, Fido's trying really hard to push this wave as fast as possible, using his spells to hit the creeps, but like you can't do that in front of a champ who can just walk at you like this. Like Malphite's just going to force you out of lane. He still has access to the TP though, so he's not too worried about his health right now. Malphite's kill pressure isn't, you know, catch you off guard kind of thing. It's very, you know, slow and expected, so he's just going to, you know, use his HP to try to get as much farm as possible before recalling, and they're going to, you know, match the more favorable lanes that they wanted initially.
Yeah, it's good timing again, isn't it, right? The lane gets pushed out in mid lane, so Tien can just walk up to top, sub him out, Fido then TPs back to mid, where it should be. And it's keeping Kanga the ones to say, well, do we want to respond to this? How do we maneuver this? And what is our game plan? Because it looks as if the Malphite is going back to base again. So I'm curious to see how long this goes on for, and who actually ends up coming out ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually curious if they do want to keep swapping lanes, because I think Sovereign is going to win both 1v1s pretty comfortably after his champ is so strong in the early games. We do see the jump coming through mid, so like this is the trading patterns we're going to constantly see with the Tristan. It's like if you use the card to, you know, ever CS, you really open yourself up to being jumped on like this.
Oh, well, there's a flash, and Fido just did it for good measure, because why not? It was very flashy in its attempt. They're looking for a kill back, and Refu needs one more auto, and that is what he'll find. The Conqueror is stacked, the damage was done, and now Schönfire is saying, well, I'll give you a little pat on the back to get you out of this lane. So a 1-for-1 so far. Kurek wrapping around as Limus baits for this 2v2, but the bouncy ball knocks him away. Kurek then flashes with the auto to root and plays Vendrick, drag back the support, and say we will just be winning this 2v2. We have the experience, and we've definitely got the damage.
Yeah, this is the strength of the Caitlyn Norlis lane. It's like you set up each other so well. We see Lucian go forward for the dash, and like it's at that point like Norlis is going to flash. He's always going to trade summoners there. It's what he wants. He still has the Hex Splash. He doesn't care about having any summoner up, but Lucian is in such a hard position when he has no summoners against like such a hard lane. I feel like this is a very hard gank, Skimmy.
Yeah, it does look like a bit of a hard game, even more so when Tien can literally look at a gank and say, yeah, I win those. I'll go for the 1v2. He's done so much damage to Refury, taking nothing in the process, and there's a massive wave stacked up to Crash, so Kanga going to lose out on that one as well. As they respawn and go back to lane, it doesn't get any better. A two-man Pillar of Flame into a double kill, as easy as you like it. And Sovereign's going to kill top.
I'm really curious to what happened here, because Sovereign didn't have access to the ult, and he didn't flash either. So I wonder if Thien went through the, you know, the body slam onto the turret and slightly missed it. We'll have to see in a replay if that is what was the case.
Oh, and now we're just diving top in mid lane rather. Fido's just taking the tower. What are we doing, Fido? It looks fantastic. You've gone for the 1-for-1, but you've literally let the turret act like it's a jungle gang.
Yeah, before we get into that one, we will see the replay here. I assume it's just, you know, missed, as he does hit the body slam, but oh, it's a bone plating gap. What a broken rune. Yeah, no, that is classic Fido to me. He's constantly gonna play for these very aggressive trades. Like he's a very aggressive player, known for like always taking the 1v1s, always trying to skill check you. And the reason why he didn't find success in the past is he wasn't enabled very well by his team. But now we see that he has really, really good teammates in his pocket. He's going to constantly go for these 1-for-1s. And the Tristana, who scales immensely better than Twisted Fate, is always happy with trading gold.
Especially if it's going to go into a Malphite as well. He's going to be like, well, you've got your one shot with that Unbreakable Force, and if it doesn't land, if it doesn't do the damage, well, I will just take over the game instead. Refury just hanging out of Fog of War right now, just waiting to look for the perfect flag and drag to get himself in. Limus certainly teasing with his current positioning, but they're waiting for Kurek to start things off. Out then goes the Cozy Campfire for a bit of healing, a bit of extra range, and a bit of chance for them to try and run this one down in a 3v2 fashion, but they're not going to find anything. They've obviously given full awareness to Schönfire, so he says, well, those grubs, I'll take them all without a care in the world.
Yeah, this is a very, very sad story for Kanga. They go, like, Vendrick uses his health to try and bait the gang as much as possible, but Refury just doesn't find the range to get the EQ onto the Nautilus, who didn't have flash, and they just walk out, and Limus is very, very happy here, already taken 4 plays for himself. He might see the entire turret go down here.
This is the flag of drag, but it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, they can flash away to safety. The turret's doing so much damage, but look at the brand popping them down low. Nearly found himself a double in response, but up rocks Kurek, says, I'll lock him in place. That beautiful spit of fire comes across to secure the double kill, and this jungle brand may just take over the game, and it's not even 10 minutes.
Yeah, Shona's really enjoying himself this game. He just gets the full clear and walk into lanes and clean up free kills, eat CS after his laners die. He is in a very, very happy position to carry this game as the solo AP threat coming out of Ground Zero.
Very, very strong. We can check in to see who's got the most farm, most gold, and in this case, the most levels right now. Tien at the top of the table there, farming up an absolute storm at this stage, but the difference between Schön and Refury is the kicker for me, right? He's a full 2-level lead ahead, all the gold, all the farm, and the only person with a bounty.
Yeah, it's just, it's so hard to match the jungle clear speed coming out of Brand, and the fact that like he got early kills is like, it's very lights out for the jungle matchup. The fact that he has one item already at 9 minutes means he's going to clear the jungle so fast. This gap will keep widening, the XP will keep getting larger, and it's just going to be so hard to match their strength in fights.
Curious actually how this changes up the game plan for Grands if they want to look to fully play around the brand, if they say, look, we're all strong in our own right. It just happens that his score looks a little bit more attractive than the rest of ours, because Caitlyn's obviously incredibly strong. Same could be said for Tristana as they look to try and do just that, looking to lock in place the brand stun. But Sovereign's got the moves. He's clean with it, and he does not die. He had no flash, but he had all the chances to get away from that one. Fantastic buffer from Kurak. He wins those, and he walks out and says, try again.
Yeah, honestly, shout out Kurak there. I feel like Benby dies there 10 out of 10 times, so it's nice to see that Kurak is a bit better, that he goes for his solo warning mission, and, you know, he doesn't die, so it's very nice to see. I think it's a good read by Granzer also to, you know, position around mid to counter these fights, because that's the only lane where all the volatility is happening right now.
Let's see, another fight, another position for them to try and do insane amounts of damage. The ace in the hole gets the first kill. Lemus nearly finding it with a second. But Refury flashing away to safety. Grand Zero looking for their cooldowns. There it is. Flash Dragon back. Give Grand Zero shown fight. Yet another kill. You've denied plates. You've denied a wave. And this gold lead, I tell you what, it's 10 minutes in. Already up 6,000. This could be a quick one.
You know, Skimmy, I remember last week we were talking about how, as we do see a kill coming into mid potentially, will the gold card connect?
Ooh, actually, a really hard force there as Wooden flashes into the lane, having used the Destiny to get them in the first place. Sin just pops the TP and says, look, I can match you. I'm a budget Twisted Fate, but so much committed to try and get Fido, and he just flashes as well.
Yeah, he's just happy. He's absolutely happy to trade his flash for all that committal coming out of Kanga, because that's like their one window to find a pick, and now they've used all the resources. They used the Twisted Fate ult, the flash, the Malphite ult, and they were unable to find that kill. So I think for the next couple of minutes, you know, Fido's going to be sitting pretty to be able to scale up and be happy.
He can just coast on through to get his first item online. Obviously, same could be said for the Caitlyn that wants to try and get through that awkward mid-game stage as quickly as possible. And I tell you what, doing a pretty good job of it. As much as we praise Schönfire for really pushing the envelope, let's once again take stock of just how strong Lemus has been this split. He's up basically double the CS. I mean, 60 over his opposition is a pretty big deal. But if you look at the overall gold, nobody holds a candle to him. Up, what, nearly 2,000 over the brand. Yeah,
we were talking about this last week. I wanted to bring up earlier is that we were curious if Lemus was going to be able to hold that stat of that 5,000 gold lead at the 15 or 20 minutes mark. And it looks like he will be able to. You know, is this the performance we're going to consistently see out of Lemus and Kurak? Are we going to have these leads just absolutely blown out of control with these 2 out of 80 carries coming online so early into the game?
It does spawn a bit of an interesting discussion when we talk about tier lists for individual players. I think Lemus definitely at the top of his game right now, and you know, long may it continue. Maybe he can go for a double, winning both splits in the same year, and keeping that trend alive of consistently going overseas to Taiwan to try and take more games away from the PCS. Let's see though, what can Referee find on this occasion? Jumping across the wall goes Lemus. Kurak with a nice hook to interrupt the combo that the Java was hoping to find. A TP in the backline on a nice little ward, and they're killed too easily for the Caitlyn to pick up. There's no Baron because it's only 12 minutes, but 4 members of Grand Zero grouped up, ready to do anything.
Yeah, this is the kind of play Kanga has to go for though. They have to look for these little niche avenues to get like a little pick when they're rotating to an objective, a little bit of the vision pocket they can abuse, but you know, just unfortunately they don't have the items, they don't have the resources right now to be able to take down these champions when they're out of position. Like Lemus does a really good job disengaging while doing an insane amount of damage to, you know, respond when the team goes on it.
You can see that not a single dragon has been taken this game, and a clear reason be it that obviously Schön is so strong, the brand rather, is so strong at taking the grubs. Much easier for them to pick all 6 of those up. But I like this. You deny the vision for a second. It looks as if Refu's about to get it, but what a clutch hook from Kurak.
Yeah, honestly, just it's a nice look, but it's just very, very hard based on the game state. But it's just respectful they're still going for these kind of plays. I also think it's really nice that Granzer aren't playing a slow game as well, because the only way they're going to lose is if this game became volatile, but they are just skill checking them pretty much in every single role. They're playing to their limits, and they're not too worried about like, is this game going to like blow out of control, because they know they're the better players, they're the better team, and they're playing with confidence, which is really nice to see.
They certainly are playing with a lot of confidence. They're exuding it. You can feel it through the screen as well. You notice there's a smile on their face. Even if the player cam is showing them locked in and acting all serious, you know just deep inside this is one of those really fun games to play. Nice little poppy hammer to knock back. The Twisted Fate as Schönfire looks to be caught in trouble. He runs actually back into the culling saying, well, it's going to hurt me, but I feel like I can do more damage in retaliation. And now at 14 minutes, with the turret plates having now fallen on down, Grand Zero don't want to group up. They're split pushing, and Kanga are a little bit mind controlled, just staring at the dragon.
Yeah, Kanga are in a position where they're forced to engage fights as much as possible when they're split, but Fido is really abusing the 6 grubs that Shen was able to secure here. He's just going to sit in the side lane. He wins every 1v1. He's happy hitting turrets. He's going to get as much gold as possible, much XP as possible. We know Tristana is a champion that wants to have as much resources as possible, be a high level, get access to, you know, maybe summon Lemus's money. If Lemus could send him some gold, he would really enjoy that because he seems to have an excess amount of it.
Definitely has a little bit too much gold at this stage of the game. So they say, you know what, objective bounties, little helping hand from Daddy Riot in the background to try and get Kanga back into this one because 15 minutes, 10k gold lead. Grand Zero, without a shadow of a doubt, are absolutely cruising through the early game of this initial game 1 in the series. And now, having just picked up the Herald, it's a case of, all right, Fido, you've been crashing all these waves for us. I really do have to pick of the litter as to where I summon Shelly.
Yeah, I'm curious of where they want to put it. I feel like Grand Zero are going to keep playing on 3 lanes and just maximize the income as much as possible. I feel like they're going to, you know, use their 3 to take turrets initially and then like rotate to the weaker lane, drop the Herald as the 4. Thien is just happy being by himself. He's never in threat. As you see, Kang going for an engage here.
Hard force there from Rafio. Fantastic flash save by Lemus. He does not lose to that situation. He's read that far too many times from his classic solo queue games. Rocks up with a double kill and says you've gone for the wombo combo, but try again. Too easy and far too predictable.
Yeah, there's not much to say about that. There isn't much Kanga can really do from this position. They can't wait for a better position in the game. They're going to get outscaled. They are forced to make these kind of plays, so it's really unfortunate that they were unable to snowball from the early game where they needed to be able to get gold and resources to be able to, you know, take these team fights happening right now.
Look at the amount of Void Grubs on the map right now. It's literally summoned a legion of minions to do Ground Zero's bidding.
Are we going to beat our record?
It's only 60 minutes. Are they going to try and beat your record?
No,
Kanga, stop! Tally's not happy! Stop! Don't end the base right now!
Kanga, kill them
Tally's
now,
not happy.
kill them!
Kanga, they're doing whatever they can. They're trying to get members of Ground Zero as low as possible, but the Nexus is getting lower by the second. They're going to throw all caution to the wind and get it done at 16 minutes. Do you believe it? What a one-sided affair.
It's alright. We have many records. We can give one of them to Ground Zero. Like, honestly, like, congratulations on, you know, achieving the fastest game in the LCO, maybe in the OPL or Oceanic history. It's really nice to see dominant teams be dominant, honestly. I think that Ground Zero had a very good plan. They came out and they just executed extremely well. So yeah, congratulations to them. Another really good performance.
Really strong performance and a clear indication as to why we were so, you know, in favor of this being a very one-sided affair. They tried to do something a little bit creative, Kanga. They tried to go for the clever wombo in the Jarvan and Mouth fight, but they had one opportunity and it didn't work in their favor. At the break, it's Ground Zero that lead this best of 2.